Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're at the large greenhouse. Today we're going to talk about 4 ways that you can keep your greenhouse cool all summer long. Some are pretty cheap, some cost a little bit of money, so let's get into this. And before we do, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you breathe oxygen. So first things first, to cool your greenhouse, you are going to put a shade cloth on, and we use between 30 and 50% shade cloths. If you go any darker than that, your plants tend to get really leggy. However, your cuttings like it really dark. So a darker shade cloth would be great for a propagation station greenhouse where you're just propagating things as opposed to trying to get harvest out of there. And I bring my shade cloths out as soon as the sun starts to get potent. You can feel the warmth. And once those temps start coming up above freezing, 32 degrees and up, we start to look and pay attention to the temperatures, and that new Govee thermometer has been a godsend. We've been able to pay attention to the highs and the lows, and I'm picking up all the data. So once we get our shade cloths on our greenhouses and get them very secure, you have filtered light, 30 to 50% filtered light coming into your greenhouse. So you've got like a canopy above it. Just think of it like a canopy protecting all of your plants and allowing some filtered light through, and not all of the harsh sunlight, and it doesn't allow the greenhouse to heat up and cook all of those plants. So once we got the filtered light, we want to focus on cooling the airspace of the greenhouse. So if you're not going to open your doors and you're going to have a sealed greenhouse with a nice venting fan, you're going to want to focus on cooling the airspace in the greenhouse and having good ventilation and circulation. So we're going to go check out how I've been cooling the airspace of the greenhouse for absolutely free. So coming in the greenhouse, we've got lots and lots of plants in here, lots of cold and warm season crops. So we are kind of taking it easy on all of them with our shade cloths. You can see that our mustard has actually started to flower up on us too, because it has been so darn warm in here. Everything's looking great, but what I wanted to show is this actual geothermal here. It's registering about 57 degrees, maybe a foot or so down, because this has a laser, so I have to shine it on a surface. I can't really pick up the air temperature. So 57, about 55 degrees or so. And that is what we're usually picking up when I leave my thermometer sitting in. So we're able to turn 60, 70 degree air. We're holding 67 degrees on the floor in the shade. So we're able to turn that air about 10 degrees cooler, maybe 15 degrees cooler, just by running it through the floor and picking up those cool temps from the earth. We're gonna run down and we're gonna check out the actual solar powered systems and where our actual geothermal starts. So I really don't have a how-to video on this, because when I was doing it, it was such a catastrophe that I just wanted to do it and get it done. And then I filmed after I had completed this. I ended up digging my walkway out about 7.5 to 8 feet down. And then I ran this drain tile, the 4-inch drain tile. I put myself a little solar powered fan, and I have a solar box controlling all of that. So we're running all of that free energy from the sun through this system to heat and cool the greenhouse. So in the winter, we had 50 degrees solid coming out of here constantly. So in the summertime, we're pushing 50, 55, 57 degrees into the floor of the greenhouse, keeping all of those plants cool and allowing good oxygen flow. And we're constantly recycling that. This is going to run for some hours into the night because these fans don't have a whole lot of draw. We're able to get those temperatures down, and we keep a much steadier temperature in the greenhouse itself overnight and during the day. So with simple solar power, we're just running these DC fans, and we're getting good longevity out of it, and we're getting good results. So just running simple solar power and experimenting with it is super beneficial, because we were able to run this fan, the fan behind our bricks blowing heat off, and then we were able to run our fan blowing all the heat through our John Payne composting and allowing that heat from compost to transfer to the air inside the greenhouse without getting any gases, CO2 or methane, as a byproduct of that compost. So we're just harvesting heat and only heat. Aside from doing geothermal and running it in the ground, just pumping air, you could also pump water. And I will say that with enough geothermal tubes or a large enough setup and enough fans, you could probably get by with just geothermal for a heating, cooling source, basically your climate control in your greenhouse. So if you buried some water lines, basically like we did with our John Payne heating, but our pile is above ground. So our compost pile is not technically cooled off yet. It's still about 80 plus degrees. So we are heating the water that's coming through our John Payne system still, but once that pile cools off, we're basically running it through a dead pile, and it has enough insulation outside that it will cool the water as opposed to heating it up. So technically, if you dug down about 10 feet through a bunch of lines down, or some type of cistern or tank that you could bury underground to hold a good amount of water, you could constantly exchange water with the surface with that underground water and constantly be pulling those 50-degree temperatures up and cooling your whole floor, using it for some type of mist system, or even reverse with this heat exchanger, and you could basically make yourself a small 50-degree air conditioner with a fan and a heat exchanger. So there is a lot of opportunity for free heating and cooling in any type of greenhouse or home garage. So I said we were going to talk about 4 ways to cool your greenhouse. So far I've hit 3. We've got shade cloths, got geothermal, cooling your air, and you've got geothermal potential for cooling water. Now the last one is the venting and venting requirements. And before I touch on that, I want to run outside and check on this compost pile, and then we're going to kick the water on and see what kind of temps we're actually pulling off and see what kind of temps are on the pile. So let's go check this out. So we're out at our compost pile, and I just showed this after that storm came through the other day. It ripped our tarps off, and I never really threw them back on because there's no need to heat this anymore. So I'm kind of letting the rain help cook this up even faster, and I'm not even pulling water heat off of this right now because I want to let that heat build inside, and I just want it to break down so I can use all of this, clear this spot, and rebuild the Jean Pain system for next winter. But if we take a look at the actual thermometer in here, this dang thing is still holding about 82 degrees, and that's just 2 feet in from the surface. So down in the center of that pile, I believe it's over 100 degrees still. We're gonna go kick the water on, and we'll see if we got some heat coming off of that. So we got our water kicked on. We gotta wait for it to come out here. I can hear it coming. I can feel that pipe down here is actually getting quite warm. Pipe coming in was showing about 80 degrees right away. We're putting about 74, 73, about 73 degrees. Now it's only about 45 degrees outside, so we are heating that water up. It is very evident. We're venting, we got all the doors open, and it's still like 60 degrees, 67 degrees in the greenhouse. So it's really nice to be able to have this heat this long. This really shows me that we're able to succeed with our Jean Pain heating, and I just wanted to kind of jump on this as a side note to show the progression of this and how long that pile actually lasted. We started this last November, or the beginning of November, I think, and it sustained a burn through the entire winter and sustained our greenhouse and all of the food we grew in. So now that we're in the greenhouse, we're going to talk about venting requirements. So we've got a formula for finding out the actual square footage required to vent your greenhouse in summer to allow all of the heat to escape and refresh the oxygen. So you're going to take your length times your width, and then you're going to multiply that by 0.02, and the result from that will give you the square footage required for venting your greenhouse. So let's run that through a few greenhouses. So my little 6x12 cattle panel greenhouse gives me 72 square feet, and that breaks down to about 1.5 square feet of actual venting space, which is not much at all. Let's do a Harbor Freight 10x12 greenhouse. You've got 120 square feet, so you're going to require about 2.5 square feet of venting. Those kits probably come with more than just 2 square feet of venting, or 2.5 square feet. This is the minimum venting required to be able to vent your greenhouse properly. Let's relate that to this 520 square foot greenhouse. That's going to give us about 10.5 square feet of venting requirement. I built this greenhouse as a winter greenhouse, so I cannot roll up the sides. This thing is like a winter bunker in here. We've got 2 layers, so we have to be able to vent. I'm going to add some fans, and a number you're looking for is 88 cubic feet per minute when you're looking for a good fan. That is the lowest number you want for cubic feet per minute move. I haven't really had any issues with heat buildup because when it's warm out, I have my doors open and I let it naturally vent, and I let birds and all types of stuff come in here, all the natural bugs, because it cuts down on all of the pests and insects that damage our crops. It just keeping as a natural cycle and allowing everything to coexist keeps it more natural and allows everything to be balanced out better. Now with the temperatures breaking and getting warm very quickly, and we're having drastic swings in temperatures, I wanted to cover all this stuff to kind of give everybody a little bit more information, especially for everybody who's new to greenhouses. So I hope this information finds everybody well, and I would like to thank all of my subscribers. You guys are awesome. You guys give me great feedback, and I really appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you next time.